Good afternoon, grade 9s. Sorry about the delay on this video. I finally got everything all worked out and I had a whole bunch of interruptions in the morning, but hopefully I'll be able to get through this in one straight shot with you. Um, and I'll be posting it on YouTube and linking it to our Google Classroom so that you can kind of follow along with little video lessons. You can ask questions, do your work, and kind of submit it all through that platform. And that'll kind of be the pattern of how the next little while is going to go when we're all at home. Hopefully everybody's staying safe and staying clean and washing their hands and socially distancing as best as you can. But I look forward to giving this a try with you. It's kind of new for me and new for you, so let's see how it works. So we're going to be talking about something new today. It's kind of related to what we were looking at before in algebra. There are some algebra properties that are kind of related, but it's a little bit different. And to kind of get to that point, it's kind of called proportioning. We have to first talk about something called ratios. So I'll write that in. Go ahead, you can pause the video now if you want and get some loose leaf paper. It's probably a really good idea, something to have. So I'm just going to put the date, and I'll put 2020 there at the bottom as well. Perfect. So ratios might not seem that familiar, but you might have come across them once or twice before. When I was young, they used to sell TVs, and TVs were all sold about the same size. The screen had the same ratio. It was a 4:3 ratio. When they would broadcast television, they would broadcast it at a 4:3 ratio, so images wouldn't get stretched. And basically what that meant was the TV screen was about 4 parts wide to about 3 parts tall, and it's kind of hard for me to kind of capture that for you on a loose leaf, but you can kind of get the idea. It's kind of square. Whereas now when they sell TVs, usually they're sold more in this ratio. It's a 16:9 ratio, which means it's about 16 parts wide to about 9 parts tall. So it has more of a, not quite a stretch, but it's got a wider format like that. So you can see, actually my drawing's not super clear, but you can kind of envision that it's a little bit wider while this one's a little bit more square. I could have probably done a better job of drawing that, sorry. So to go on from here, let's take a little look. Ratios are really, in a ratio, let's do a little bit of writing here. In a ratio, we are comparing two numbers or values. Okay, so in a ratio, we are comparing two numbers. I'll put a little arrow there as well. Okay, so let's take a little look at an easy, kind of understandable example. I'm going to draw some little lakes. Here's a little pond there. I'll do another little pond there. You can put some pond water here at the top, nice and pretty. Looks kind of like water, right? I know I'm a great artist, you guys have seen before. And I'm going to draw some fish in the pond. So, whoa, there we go. There's one fish there. They're not super pretty. A couple fish. Put 3 in this one and maybe 2 in this one. Put some little fins and flippers. Alright, Make sure you get all of these fine details. They're very, very important. No, I'm just kidding. So in a ratio, we are comparing two different numbers. So just to start, let's compare our ponds to fish. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So how can we compare the number of ponds we have to the number of fish we have? Well, it's as simple as saying, we would write, well, we have 2 ponds to 5 fish. Okay, oops, 5 fish. All right, so I'm going to slide this up so you can see. 2 ponds to 5 fish. Now, a couple of different ways we can write that without a whole bunch of text. Underneath, we could write that just like this, 2 to 5 Right? We could also just do it like this, a little bit more sleek, 2 to 5. Or we could also do it as a fraction type of thing, 2 to 5. Right, so these are all 3 different ways to write. Oops. Perfect. So, conversely, let's compare the number of fish we have to ponds. It's actually going to be quite similar. So here's our second question. If your question were to be compare fish to ponds. Sorry, I'm getting a little distracted. I think there's somebody outside my door here. Compare fish to ponds, or also maybe it would say, what is the ratio of what is the ratio of fish to ponds? I think that's a little bit more realistic of a question. So, how many fish do we have compared to how many ponds? Well, we have 5 fish compared to 2 ponds. Or you could answer it in the other way, 5 to 2, or 5 over 2. Right, so depending on how they ask is how you would answer that question. One last example, and it's kind of going to be at the bottom of your example sheet as well. It might be write the ratio 7 to 9, right, 7 to 9 as a fraction. Okay, so if it's 7 to 9, we'll put our 7 on top, and it's comparing that to 9. It'll look just like that, 7 to 9 ratio. So you'll have a page following the page that looks like this in your notes. Right, it's got the 2 trees, kind of got similar explanation. On the back, you'll have a couple of different examples. So it says, write it out in words, write it out as a fraction, and it gives you a whole bunch of different examples here. And then finally, on the back, there's also a comparison of dogs to cats and stripes to spots and stuff like that. So those are your assignments for today. Take a look at those, and make sure that you check out the video that talks about how to submit photos on Google Classroom, because that'll be the easiest way for you to submit your work. Thanks so much. Hope everybody's doing well at home. Okay, bye-bye.